On this edition of The Streets, Guntown, firearm violence in Barbados.
Some of them spoke about something called a gun circle, where you can actually rent a gun, hire a gun, and then return that gun for another person to commit another offense.
According to a report by the Office of the Attorney General, the number and easy availability of firearms is a major contributor to violent crimes in Barbados. There are reports that assault rifles such as AR-15s are now in the hands of local criminals, along with shotguns and other previously less common firearms. According to that report, guns are also now significantly more likely to be used in the commission of robberies. An IDB report noted that firearms have become the most popular weapon of choice for perpetrators of homicides that have spiked along with the increased gunplay. Cheryl Willoughby is director of the Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit. What does the research tell you about the source of the guns?
Well, we did. Unfortunately, we were not able to unearth the sources that may be out there. But what I can say is that based on our information, our research, we have a problem. I don't know where that problem originated, but we have a problem with guns. But we also have to bear in mind that Barbados's borders, our borders are very porous. You can land a boat anywhere around the island undetected because of the openness of our sea line. So it may mean better surveillance. It may mean to have for government to institute more detective or detection equipment at our ports of entry. Um, it may call for an island, a whole country approach for persons where they see something to say something, right? So it is to encourage people to work with the police and the authorities in order to put some sort of to stymie what we are seeing at the community level.
But stemming that flow of guns into the country is seen as absolutely critical to the fight against crime. It's an issue that has been discussed at the level of the CARICOM heads of government. UWI crime researcher, Professor Corinne Bailey.
As you may know, the Caribbean heads of government came together in Trinidad and had that
Crime Conference. Summit, yeah.
right, exactly. Where what the main outcome of that was to pressure, implore, beg, whatever we want to call it, the U.S. to aid our fight in fight against violent crime by helping to stem the flow of guns in this direction. That is not something new. We have been calling for that for years. As a new PhD awardee, I think it was in 2006, I wrote an article in the paper in Jamaica calling for the same thing. Historically, we have been pressured into supplementing the security of American borders by being asked to prevent the flow of drugs in that direction. And very little has been done in terms of reciprocity, in terms of helping us to stem the flow of guns coming in the other direction. We cannot make any headway, much headway, in terms of the fight against violent crime without addressing that. There is nothing, again, let me not say nothing. There is not much we can do that is sustainable without that. We have a problem with the flood of guns coming into our Caribbean shores. We know that despite the fact that there has been no seizure of guns at the port here for a number of years. That tells us that there's an issue going on at the port because the guns are coming. There is obviously an increase in the number of guns that are coming into the island. That's something that we're seeing across the region, and without that being stopped, where we are fighting a losing battle. So while it is important and critical that we focus our efforts on holistic measures that target the social and economic factors that are behind one's involvement in criminal activity, that has to come alongside
Stemming the flow.
stemming the flow
For some to posit that
of guns.
there's arguments about whether the crime and the criminals are worse now than they were years ago, but the key point someone made is they do not have access
Absolutely.
to the weaponry.
Absolutely.
That's a game changer.
It is a total game changer, and that is, again, I am not. I mean, you know where my heart is. Those social and economic interventions have to occur, but that is clearly one of the issues that Barbados is facing at the moment. Quote unquote gangs, because no matter what we want to say, the gangs here thankfully are not as organized as they are. When I say organized, I mean true links between gangs here and gangs in the States that are centered around the flow of drugs. They are not as organized as they are within countries like Jamaica, Bahamas, Trinidad and Tobago. Increasingly sent kits, and those countries are where you see the most intense form of gang violence. But gangs have always been fighting here. We've always had disputes. We've always had conflict. When you add the ease of access to weapons, it's there is, you know, it's an obvious explosion, for want of a better term, you know, waiting to happen. We cannot do anything without it. So some attention obviously has to be paid. In addition to the United States doing their part, obviously, some attention needs to be paid to what's going on at the ports.
That inflow of guns and their apparent easy availability has been flagged by criminologist Kim Ramsey as a critical issue.
They're coming into Barbados, and there's only one way to get into Barbados. It's on sea or on land. Or on air, sorry. So they're getting into the country through obviously very organized means. But there are among us. I mean, in the past, you'll see a man with a shotgun. Still have shotguns, but as I said, they've now increased to high-powered assault weapons. And the criminals are becoming more clever with it. One of the other things that has also changed is that we have technology now. So back in the days of Hardin and Buddy Bradford and so on, there was no camera, there was no cell phone. We didn't have the computer age was now evolving. But now we have persons who can technology, Instagram, Facebook, men are using their phones to show off their weapons, to do other stuff like that.
Miss Ramsey notes that social media has heightened our awareness of crime. But at the same time, she points out there are more incidents of crime, even shootings, than the public is actually aware of.
Social media has now exposed a lot of what never used to be exposed. So I don't, but the reality is that we're seeing more things on social media, but the crime still, bear in mind this is reported crime we're talking about. There's a lot of unreported crime.
So there are indeed more crime than we may even be aware, because not all of it.
There's definitely more crime than we're aware, because not everybody reports crime for various reasons. Fear, embarrassment. Some persons who are victims of crime are also perpetrators, so they do not report crimes. People do not want to associate with the police. And a lot of people believe they could solve the crime themselves, or they think it's too trivial to report it. So there is a serious level of underreporting of crime, and what we see is only the surface of crime in any jurisdiction though. Many people do not report crimes. That's why We do surveys, victimization surveys, to get a better picture of the true extent of crime. And even then, people will not tell you about certain crimes, especially crimes like domestic violence and stuff like
You
that.
said over again, spoke to a number of factors, but with a number of factors. What strikes you most, I mean, concerns you most about crime today?
The gun crime. Because you would have seen what happened in Nelson Street. Innocent people, when it gets to the point that innocent people are being harmed. And the brazenness of some crimes, the Sheraton murder, people are going into public spaces to harm persons that they have a beef with, and they do not care about collateral damage in some cases. It is cause for concern. Children are being shot. Men are doing drive-by shootings with children being shot. This was not the Barbados of yesteryear.
The issue is not just the availability of weapons, but also the anger and impatience. How quickly people, even some very, very young men, are willing to use the guns to take a life. It worries Director of Parados, Cicely Clark Richmond.
There is so much violence, there's so much anger in our young people, furthermore, the adults. And they are obviously getting it from the adults because they're around and see something happen. And the first thing somebody, I can shoot you, I can kill you, it's coming out of our the language. Not even, I mean, so
Starts at home.
exactly. Of course, it starts at home. There's no question about it. Our homes, a lot of our homes are violence. A lot of violence between siblings. You know what I mean? Between mother and father, children are seeing fathers beating mothers. They're seeing it on a daily basis. Siblings are fighting each other. What do we expect is going to happen? That is going to spill out into the streets. They're going to spill out to me when I go to school. When somebody just barely touches me or really take up a pencil. You know what I mean? That's my pencil. How dare you touch my pencil? How dare you touch my bag? It's not like, okay, I'm sorry. Hi, you can have it back. Sorry, I didn't realize it was yours. No. What do you expect is going to happen? The violence is spilling is no part of our society. Regular anger is everywhere on the street. People are afraid to even speak to people sometimes because you see a child may be doing something and you want to go and tell the parent, but you're afraid the parent can cuss you when you come in to tell her about her child. You know what I mean? So we're keeping things bottled up, when in fact we should be able to say, look, Stetson, I saw Mary down the street yesterday and she's, she was talking to some people and I don't think that they're, the right persons that she should be talking to. And you said, well, thank you very much, and I'll, look into it, whatever. But I want to hear you. Mind your own business, that's my child. That is the attitude that we're seeing permeating our streets today. People are really scared to talk to each other, to help each other. You see somebody in the streets that maybe in need of help, and we don't want to help because we're afraid that something's going to happen to us when we try to help. So what do you expect our children going to do when they're looking at us and seeing us every day cussing and fighting and cursing and talking about each other behind the back on the phone, and then you smell the person when they come?
Reflecting on the gun violence, criminologist Kim Ramsey sees a woeful loss of respect for the value of a life.
People do not care, and we have a lot of young men who need direction, and women who need direction, who need guidance, and who have no value for life. And some of them can be easily bought. Because I've met men who I've interviewed in prison who are as tall as my desk or a little taller, who tell me they were hitmen. So easily bought. Which speaks to the wider issue of the whole issue of impressionable young people, and how I could come to you and put a gun in your hand and tell you to do something for me because of materialism. So that's another factor as well, materialism.
Some people do anything for money.
Yes.
How long way did we get here as a society, as a nation?
Society evolves and materialism is part of the culture. Everybody wants the brand name gear. They want to look good. They want to live. I mean, I don't want to get into theories and stuff like that, but every people want to. The boy on the block wants to live like the man in the gated communities. They want the same things. It's just that some people may go the right route. Some people may deviate and go other routes, but everybody wants the same thing.
The brazen callousness of the gun violence was in full effect when Ricardo Gill was shot dead on the doorstep of his home. His mother, Rosetta King, still ponders on the viciousness of that attack.
Rosetta, how are you doing now? How's the family doing?
Everybody in family can't believe it. They just can't. Who is depressed, just keeping it in and being to the south. They may live, the family ain't as lively as it used to be.
What sort of toll does it take on the family?
It's taking a grand toll on my family. It's taking a grand toll on my family. My husband has lost weight within these couple of days. We ain't eating, we just studying our son. It has taken a toll.
Oh, the other people, guys, nieces, nephews, other siblings, what are they doing?
His sisters, I don't know what to do. Them numb. Believe me, they numb. They're crying every day. That's the only brother from the mother. The father got other boys, but I only have had his one. And they're had it like close. The nieces, he used to take care of them, look out for them. So they feel lost without the uncle.
Gil lost his life, Ricardo. Gil
Yeah,
lost his life right here in this story.
right here.
31. You have no idea what that's about?
I would like somebody to tell me why. Why my son? Why? A child that was so loving. All the old people in there don't want to know why. Why did he? So we want an answer to this. Why?
What do you think of? It's one of a series of gun killings you've had in the last several months. This morning when we came, we were burning incense right here. Again, it's already short a few minutes ago. You have a visual,
Yeah.
candlelight visual right next door here.
Right. I would say where me and he used to learn on evenings. Because that wasn't only my son, that was my friend. So I miss my son, I miss my friends.
What do you think of what's going on in the country, this gun violence? What do you think is very good? What do you think is good? What do you think about it?
To me, these young boys, they go in school, they come local schools, they in the work. They may nothing for them to do but just sit down on the block and smoke weed, news, other types of drugs, and get foolish. It's time something happens. Find work for them. Get them off the blocks. Because if you look, it's a lot of 17, from 21 years and down are doing these murders. It ain't the big old people, it's young people that have nothing to do but sit down and be lawless at you, as we the owner force would say. In the pine, they had so many deaths due to gun violence. It needs to stop. I know people are going to say I'm harsh because it was my son that was killed. But if you don't do something to at least one of these murderers to show, well, yes, we are being serious. If you kill some person, be the but as they said, a life for life. if you take my child life and then the government take yours, or
It's on capital punishment.
capital punishment, yes. They need to bring back either the electric, get us an electric chair, the gallows, or the cattle line. One of those three things need to come back in play. Because the young boy saying, yeah, we going, you shoot a man, you go to jail and come out from bail and do it again. You kill a woman, the same thing. And that's how they're looking at life, that we can get bail. No. That's only half closer for a family. Wasn't you say you kill my child and you go up in jail and come back out on bail? No. Carry you out there, like back in the day. Get 3 lashes with the cat and lay over. Look, this was a hearing for you though. If you feel that you coming and eat out the the taxpayers' money and walking about, no. Let them come and do work, find work for them. These young people want work. They got a lot of bush all in country that want can they do? Okay, they in country make the cat bush. Get a sign do. Cause they're going to school and they're paying the education. So find something for them to do. Let them go clean some big gullies that want cleaning that we got put here. Let them clean the drains. Find something for the young people to do and see if it would help with all of this ignorance.
Canon Noel Burke, the rector of St. David's Anglican Church, sees the trends, the rise of the gun violence, the viciousness and impact of the gun killings. But he's forever hopeful the tide will turn.
What do you make of this escalating crime, especially gun crime situation in the country?
Well, of course, here in Barbados, we're all Barbadians and we're all Caribbean people. And we are people who love peace and quiet and calm. That's the Caribbean way. And those are the values with which we have grown. One of the issues seems to be the way in which we are passing on those values to those who are coming now after us, or children and our grandchildren. And I get the distinct impression that a tremendous amount of work needs to be done in order to help our young people to find ways of resolving the issues and so on, and having the kind of values that will really help them as young people to take this country forward. So the issue of crime is a matter that will impact on us all, although the concern for the fact that we are here in the present, but we have to look to a future. And we are looking to the vibrancy and intelligence and the skills of our young people to take us forward. So we really need to examine our home and family life. When I think about it, I always get the impression that a home and family life, that some resilience is needed in order to, let's say, shield and guard and protect our young people, to pass on the kind of values that they will know how to relate to each other within the community in which we live.
Is Barbados facing a crisis of culture and values? Next on the streets.
Prevailing culture of lawlessness and violence that we have somehow accepted and bought into.